Welcome back to How Not to Suck at Star Trek Online with Fuzzy Bunnies 47. That's me. Alright, today we're going to talk about your heads-up display, or your HUD. It's not there. It's this. Everything on screen. So, there's a lot. Let's get into it. One of the first basics is you can move most everything, and some things you can resize, some things you cannot. Starting over here, I'll call this the map area. So you've got several icons that go around your map area. One, this is your beam out. It says beam to ship in this particular example, but it's beam out. Different situations, it'll do different things, and when you're in battle, typically you cannot use this button. In mission, not in a story mission, in a group area, in battle, can't beam out. This little guy is transwarp. Only to be used in the galaxy map. The overworld, also called. This will bring up a menu that you can go to a bunch of different places as you unlock them, as you progress through the game, that will enable you to go from point A to point B in just an instant. This is scanner, or scan area. Also, default, the letter V on your keyboard. I don't usually use the button on the map area. Just push the V. Do what you want. This one is actually pretty important, and it's got a lot of information in it, so we'll come back to that one. The journal probably has the most information. This is where you go to get, I guess we'll call them newsletters. They feature an episode, they feature an event. Usually that's the one that's going on currently. They'll feature TFOs. They try to let you know when it's going to be a No Dilithium weekend, an Admiralty bonus weekend, an R&D bonus weekend, a Marks bonus weekend, etc. and so forth in this little section. The current event is right here, so you can see the winter's completed, but they do leave them up for quite some time. You can see your progress on the event campaign. Always suggest logging in once a day and getting the daily for this, because this gives you a lot of free stuff, and a lot of it's pretty good. And this is where the featured TFO is, so you can see we talked about it in the TFO section, but the Kobayashi Maru and Arena Sampek are the current TFOs. You can see when your particular timer resets, so my timer is resetting in just under 14 hours, and then I can go back in and get more progress on it. This is where your episodes are, all the episode arcs, all the episode individual missions. The available missions, this will include all of the missions that were moved from this area. Shout out to my Tales from the Outer Rim. That was a joke to Star Wars and Star Trek, because Star Wars is the Outer Rim. Anyway, this is the 3 mission chains that were removed from the episode listing as a whole, but they're still available. So all of these episodes are still available to do at pretty much any time. Some of them, let's see if we can find a good one, to the front lines. You can only do that once a day. That's got the 20-hour delay timer, I believe, like the event TFO does. So these are all your in-progress missions. Most of mine are not actually in progress. I just use them as transwarp. areas, transwarp nodes. Your accolades, this is going to be, like I said, another episode all to itself, because there's a lot of accolades in this game. And your logs, what have you done? I logged in. I went somewhere. I did things. I salvaged something. I did a mission simulator. I looked at the captain's log. This is... I met 7 of 9? Really? Huh. Figured I would have met her earlier. But that's where you get a lot of information from, and you can actually make them. So you can make a new entry. This would probably be a good place if you want to do specific things for a character, a toon, versus just kind of flopping in and like, what did I want to do with this character next? I can't remember, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, and then you screw up and you're like, oh, I was going to do that. Up here, this is your character. So that will bring up this little window. We'll talk about this one. So you've got your character status. You can check on the status of your ship, if it's got any injuries, or if you've got any injuries, they'll show down there. If your ship has any damage, it'll show down here. All of your ships, or well, your ship, your shuttle, all of your bridge officers will show down here. Their skills, and this will also apply to all the other bridge officers, your ships, and yourself. You can pick the different skills and whatnot here. With your commander, it'll be more in depth. We'll talk about this system some other time. Traits, same thing. You'll have, well, these will be kind of locked to your toon, but your bridge officers will all have potentially different selectable things. They usually only have the 4, but sometimes they do. So it's a good idea to kind of peek around and see if you can change anything up to your liking. Stations. This is where you pick your standard away team and which of your bridge officers will show up down here in the bridge officer skill tray. To change them around, you just move, or you just click the little down button, and then you can pick from whatever you've got. Sometimes your characters will not be authorized to take a station, so they won't show up. Alright? So this is tactical only, so you only see tacticals. That's tactical only, so you only see tacticals. That's a universal, that's a universal, and that's an engineering. So my particular configuration, I've got the 2 universals, 1 engineer, 1 science, to make sure that I've got at least a science up there. I actually probably am going to switch those around since I've got 2 engineers, so Tavrel can have... Let's do that. Let's do that right now. Where are you at, Tavrel? Oh, we got to switch her out first. Pew! See, so now we've got an extra one there, and now we'll switch... Who was that over there? Wasn't Natea? It was Zerva. So now I've got a little bit more balanced engineering capabilities versus science capabilities. And your standard away team selection functions the exact same. How you change the various skills in that system, you just click on the character in question, and then you click over here. It will show you all of your options, and then you pick it. And that will become your default. For that ship, in this particular case, your standard away team, it will just be standard away team. Doesn't matter what ship you're in. Reputation. My reputation is glowing, as is this window. We're going to talk about that in a sort of interlude. So when things are glowing, it means the system wants your attention. That particular area wants your attention. Something has happened, something has changed, something is completed. So go ahead and take a peek. In this particular case, I've got some reputations that want to go again. I'm not going to send them right now, because we'll talk about that later. This is your inventory. You click on that and you will see all of your inventory. So your weapons that you collect, batteries, modifiers, buffs, charms, armor, shields, deflectors, consumables, skills. They will all pop into here, except for the ones that are considered R&D. They will go in here automatically. You can force them to go into your inventory, but don't know why you'd want to. Your R&D is all the things that you use to create things. It's research and development. So these are the raw materials that you will deplete to create your own weapons, shields, armors, etc. and so forth. And we'll talk about how to do that way later. The Assets tab, this shows you all of effectively your monies. You have energy credits. That's the main in-game currency. You have your reputation marks. So this is the system we've alluded to several times. We haven't gone fully in depth into yet. But this is where you have a quick look at all of the various sub-genre marks, which are, it's just effectively another way to say money. Fleet assets. So this is just yours, not the whole fleets, but this is how many fleet credits you have and how many fleet marks. So fleet marks are used to earn fleet credits, and fleet credits are used to earn or to purchase fleet-only sold items. So there are several items in the game that they may not necessarily only be sold there, but it'll be the most convenient place and most effective place to purchase them is from your fleet. Your dilithium. So you have ore what? I'm sorry, I'll see myself out. You have ore. Currently this character has 20 raw ore. You have refined, which is 157,921 in this particular case. Refined ore is yet another currency. It's used to complete a lot of projects. It is used on the exchange. It's a pretty high commodity. To change raw ore into refined, you just click this button, Refine Dilithium, and you will be able to refine up to, depending upon your account type, either 7,000, 8,000, or 9,000, I think. It's been a long while since I have had a standard account, so I can't for sure quote that a standard account can refine 8,000 a day, but minimum a premium account or a lifetime user account or a, what did they call it, the original purchaser lifetime subscriber. If you have a hard copy of Star Trek Online, you have 8,000 in system, and then you can refine another 1,000 with a duty officer. Future Fuzzy here. I forgot while I was recording and then I was editing. There are two other dilithiums. The Fleet Voucher and Reputation Voucher. They are fairly self-explanatory. The voucher counts as dilithium, but only towards the fleet or reputation systems. Expertise. You get expertise for just doing stuff. You will rack this up, and I doubt you'll be able to spend it all. You just can't spend it fast enough. It just keeps racking up. It's just not a high commodity. Gold pressed Latinum, or just Latinum. This character currently has almost 2 million. Latinum is used for purchasing somewhat standard commodities in a different way. So if you don't want to use your energy credits, you can use Latinum. And some items are only available by Latinum, like through a Ferengi or on Deep Space Nine, mostly uses Latinum. There's a couple other instances where Latinum is the seller's preferred currency. And then salvage, anytime that you're out and about in the galaxy, attacking things, killing people, and you see those little glowing things. I'll pop up a little screen grab of that. You see those little glowing things out in space or on the ground, and they drop things, and you can collect things from them. When you click on them, you can salvage item, and that's where it goes. Salvage is used to upgrade items. And my inventory is currently showing an overflow because I've got too many personnel. But if you have too much in your inventory, if you have too much personnel, I think if you have too much R&D, though I'm not sure that can actually happen, it will go into the overflow bag. And it will stay there until the overflow bag is filled up, or you have removed enough room from that particular inventory that has overflowed, and then it will go where it's supposed to go, where the developers intend it to go. The mail system. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's an envelope, so you can send things, buy things, talk to other players, trade items, friends, family, colleagues, fleet peoples, all that kind of fun stuff. Socials. So the little people tab is the social tab. This is where you can find teams, people that are looking to team up and do more hazardous things perhaps, or perhaps they just want a friend. Fleets, you can find fleets in here. This is where people advertise an open fleet. Team settings. When you're in a team, this is where you can change team settings, usually only if you are the leader. Otherwise, this is just where you verify what the team's settings are. So for instance, if you were trying to create a team and you said free for all, need agreed, so this would everybody vote for it. This is just random, whoever gets it first. And then the threshold is who would want to care about it. So you're white, green, blue, light purple, dark purple, orange. Most people won't care about common, so it's just whoever picks it up will get it. So if you set it to uncommon, the commons will just be out there. Whoever picks it up, picks it up. Uncommons, whoever picks it up, it gets voted. Uncommon or higher, it gets voted. And then I'll pop up a shot of that. But it'll tell you, hey, do you want this or not? If you set it to rare, everything above that. If you set it very, so on and so forth. If you have any friends that are online, this is where they'll be. If you've ignored anybody, if somebody's just a tool, and you're like, shut up, this is where they'll be. You want to search for people, this is where they'll be. The little cog takes you to the main menu. Why it's there, it seems a little awkward, but this is where it's at. So you've got a couple options in here. You've got rearrange HUD, but I'll show you a quick way for that. Your options, we'll get into that in another one, but that will show you controls, voice dynamics, voice levels, how high you want to render your graphics, what you want to do on some things in the HUD, what you want your options to be on chat. So that's what that all is. Then help and support. Help and support puts you in contact with the customer support team. So I'm not going to click on that because I don't want to talk to them. Down on the bottom tray, we have the Z Store. This is where you can purchase things. Zen is earned in-game. You can trade dilithium for it. If you have the premium subscriber lifetime thing, whatever they call it a few different things, I think. You get a certain amount of Zen per month, and This is where you can expend that. You'll also want to look at promotions from time to time because there'll be freebies in here. So my account, I get a bonus quantum torpedo. It's almost immediately useless, so I don't ever take it, but you can get like uniforms, a starter pack. A lot of these are one time only per account. Some of them, like the uniforms, it's just available for every character on your account once you've pulled it. Some weapons, ships show up here. And one thing I will criticize the developers for this is they don't typically market the free stuff too heavily. They don't tell people about it. Maybe they only want it to be rewarded to the utter diehards, or maybe they just don't want to give away free stuff, but they want to look like they're giving away free stuff. I don't know what the mentality is, but they don't tell you too terribly often if there's free stuff available, but I'll show you in a minute where to find that. Next, the dilithium store. This is also where you would trade dilithium, and we'll get to that in a second. But you can spend dilithium on a bunch of stuff in-game, like I said. Some of it is, once you buy it, you've just got it for every character, and you can have as many of them as you want. So for instance, I could get this prolonged engagement photon torpedo, or the prolonged set, for free, because I've already bought it, or I've already earned it. And this is just where it goes to be available. That's a good way to say it. Modules for your characters. Starship traits, I've already got them all. You can buy hangar pets in here. These are really good if you're building a CV character or a carrier toon. But you can find a few things in here. And then to buy, sell, and trade dilithium, you can go here. This is the dilithium exchange. This is the fastest way I've found of getting here. But you can buy Zen. You can sell Zen if you're a whale. And you can see like how often you've gotten stuff, and it doesn't show you the lifetime stuff. I think it should, because it's a transaction. They give you X amount per month. So, yeah. I'm told it's on the 27th of every month. Maybe that's just me. For my personal account. Maybe it's for the globe. I don't know, but that's how it is. But how you've got... Oh, I've got a lot of Zen ready to pull out. There you go. So you can just withdraw all. It'll pull all your dilithium, all your Zen, or you can take specifics. What you have personally, Zen is account-wide, and dilithium is character-specific. Next one, we've got a little green. It wants my attention. This is duty officers. The overview. This is a good where to plan what you want to do on your characters. It will tell you specifically, very specifically, how much you have left to do on each commendation skill. So this is where you send duty officers and they get specific experience in that commendation area or school, and it counts up and you do better things and you get rewards for it. So you've got diplomatic, science, engineering, military, exploration, espionage, medical, colonial, trade, development, and recruitment. Development and recruitment are usually the ones that get maxed out first because you're just constantly doing that kind of stuff, especially even to start the game. Trade and colonial, I feel, usually take the longest because the rewards are small. Even if you're logging in every day, they don't give you a lot to do in it sometimes, and also it doesn't reward too heavily. So those will take a while. The others, depending upon your skill set, you might want to do one faster than the other, but you can focus them and send missions and get experiences. R&D school, I'm all maxed out, so these are all level 20, but this will tell you exactly, and as a quick side-by-side comparison, how much you have to do in each one. So if you want to keep it balanced, or you just want to bring one up to a specific level, you can really quickly see which ones you need to work. Campaigns. This is your Admiralty campaigns. I have maxed those out as well on this particular character, but it will also tell you, because you can repeat the Admiralty campaigns to get rewards. This will tell you where you are in this particular run, or rerun, however you want to say it. Your roster. This will tell you how many people you have on your ship and what they do. So you can filter them by their specialization. So you want to say, how many development lab scientists do I have? Okay, that's cool. How many common development lab scientists do I have? I have one. So you can filter, you can unfilter, you can really drill down into the specifications or the specifics of your personnel. And it's good to keep them balanced, because you don't want to have just one of anything, and you also don't want to have none, especially, because these guys give you passive buffs in space, on the ground. Duty officers, it's glowing, it's blinking, it's very subtle. You know, it's nice. It's not like it's blasting you in the face, but it's telling me, hey, something is completed. It appears, in this particular case, I have finished buying, selling, and or trading some personnel. So I'll collect them out, and I know my roster is full, so I have increased my overflow bag. I'm not going to tell you how to do that today. That'll be an entirely different tale. Admiralty, we talked about that. Oh, duty officers, you've got a few things in here, so we're going to drill down into this a little bit better, a little bit tip, trick, kind of best practices kind of situation. I'm going to send that real quick, because that's a purple level. We'll always take that. This is a big drill down, what you're working, what's completed. So now there's nothing completed, so now the green subtle blinking light is gone. The assignment log, what you've done, so you can see, what did I fail, what was a major success, what was a minor success, what chains did I do, all kinds of stuff. This is assignment chains. This is a huge drill down, and that's going to be an episode in and of itself. So we're not going to talk about that. Admiralty. This is where you can send little passive missions with the various ships that you've collected. Why does it work this way? I don't know, but I like it. You can get these things, these little loot box looking things. Colonists, traders, and prisoners are some of the best rewards to get out of here. And I told you how, in the overview, it tells you how far along you are in the particular Admiralty chain progress. I am 5/10 of the way to my reward. This is the 6th. So to do this, we're just going to very briefly, you go in, you pick ships that complete or max out your chances of doing goods, and so that means there's a sort of event going on where that is more expensive to make sure I've got a critical chance. 75 points, 150 points. Ordinarily that would also be 75 points, but some of these change things. We'll talk about that in a different episode as well, but just basically, you send them, and you get rewards. Send them, and you get rewards. So I have moved along my United Federation of Planets assignment chain in the Admiralty section, and I'll get some rewards for that. You don't have to do anything besides that. It's a good place to poke every single day that you log in. Send an Admiralty. Send a bunch. Why not? R&D. I am maxed out on all of my R&D schools. These are actually called schools, but Usually, or before you max them out, there is another option down here that allows you to just get experience. It's 6,000 per time that you send it, and it's up to 3 times a day. You can have it going at the same time. So highly recommended to do that, because this is where you build things that can make things better, or you can make really neat things. So beams, of course, is energy weapons for space only. Cannons is cannon energy weapons for space only. Batteries, improvements, or upgrades rather. And then these are all the little tiny components that the game says you have to put together to make the big component. Engineering, we'll talk about these in another episode as well, but you've got some really good stuff in here that you can make, and you can't find in the game. You can't earn it in the game. You have to even sometimes have the right personnel. So this one, I cannot make a hypercapacitor shield array. That'd be really nice, but I can't, because I do not have that required duty officer. So, officer training. This is where you make all of these little dudes. These little training modules, these training pads, these training information, knowledge, skill bestower items. So, depending upon your school, you will have different capabilities of making things. You have to have pads available. So these are the little computer tablets that are always running around in Star Trek. Like, they read, they learn things, they have personnel reports, they have whatever else. They, trade them around. Like, oh, Commander, here's my, submission for the day for my responsibility or whatever. You've seen Star Trek Online before, or you've seen Star Trek before. Picard reads from them all the time. Commander Riker usually has them, and he says, "Oh, Ensign Ricky is slacking off or whatever," to somebody. Go talk to him. So that's what these are, and that's how you teach your duty officers new skills, more skills, better skills, so that you can have your ship and crew and skills in a fashion and capacity that you want. Special projects. There'll be some special projects from time to time. You can make things. These go into very advanced consoles. Literally, that's what they're called, is the advanced consoles. They are the items that are required to make the really nice ones. Usually people don't make them, because we'll talk about that at another time, but it's way more effective and efficient to make the lowest quality, or the lowest tier, at the highest quality, and then just upgrade it. These are Q events, or Omega events. You will get from time to time Omega things. You get, well, what are they called? I've got that written down somewhere. They are called Omega Trace. So the lowest level, you take Omega Traces, and you can make an Omega Sliver. You take Omega Slivers, and you can make an Omega Shard. You take Omega Shards, and you can make an Omega Fragment. Then you can take Omega Fragments, and you can make Omega Upgrades. So these are interesting because some of them don't take dilithium, which is nice. If you're low on dilithium, you can make an Omega, if you have the Omegas, and you can upgrade your technology with these. And during the Q events, the traces are just out in space. So you just kind of float around specific areas, and you do a little mini game, and you just collect them for free. Easy peasy. This is the operations window. So task forces are where you can get a lot of marks, salvage, experience. When you do a random at the elite level, you get the best rewards. When you do a random at the advanced level, you get more marks. And when you do randoms at the base level, normal, you just get like the base level of marks. So the more intense you want to make it, the more intense rewards you'll get. And it's only on random, so you just click that button. I'm not going to click it because it'll almost assuredly pull me immediately in, and I don't want to disappoint a team. But you click on that, and you go into a random TFO, so hopefully you are outfitted well, and you don't fail. You probably won't fail the normals. Maybe some of the advanced. The elites are actually elite. I don't do those on all of my characters because they're just not ready for it yet. What you have queued, so if you're waiting for some specific ones, maybe you have an endeavor that says kill dreadnoughts. So you've got all the ones that you know can have dreadnoughts in them, and you've got them queued up here, so you can just kind of peek through there. This just shows you all of them. Special events, so that's our current TFO event. We'll also see that in a minute in a different area. The Arena of Sompek and Kobayashi Maru are the two available. You can't change the skill on the special event, it's just how it is. Dilithium is the oddest one. The Romulan Imperial Minefield, the only thing it rewards you with is dilithium. At least directly from the TFO. You might get like some pickups that you can salvage or equip to your character or your ship rather, but the only reward that comes from the actual TFO is dilithium. That's the weird one. Choice of marks, these three, these two are because it's the event. I don't think they're usually like that. They might be though, because those are fairly generic. That's you kill a lot of different things. That's you destroy a lot of different ships in various rounds. So they might be just random or choice of marks. And then breach is always just choice of marks. So that's a weird one. Fleet marks is all of them except for the ones we've already talked about. And then specific ones, if you know it has, like in the previous example, if you're looking to kill dreadnoughts and you just go clicking through, oh, that one's got a dreadnought, we'll start that one, we'll see if we can get into that one, that one's got a dreadnought, we're going to see if we can. So that's how you do that. That's TFOs. Patrols. Patrols, this is where I get like a little bit geeky and fun. If you are a really old player, you will remember that patrols didn't used to exist, but yet they did. They only used to be on the galaxy map, so you had to just kind of coast around the galaxy and hope you will stumble upon a patrol. Usually people found ones that they knew were going to be there and that they could handle, and they would just kind of keep going back to it. You could just keep going back to it. It was great. The first on each one of these has a daily bonus, so you can knock it down to specific ones. Delta's Age of Discovery, Klingon Civil Wars, Mirror Universes, Borg Multiverses, or you can just look through the entirety of them. And these are episodes. They're in the episodes list. So Klingon Civil War. Nope. Delta Quadrant has, I know, several patrol spots. So these patrols you cannot replay as a mission and get the mission rewards twice, but you can go to patrols in this area and replay them. So these are the Delta Quadrants that are no longer available to play for me on this account or on this character because I have already done them and you can only do them as a mission once. PvP. I don't do it, so I can't really tell you much about it, but you can go into these and kill other real players. Not in the real world, of course, but it's player on player, and I don't want to, so I don't do it. Private, you can create kind of like a little training room. So you can invite a friend, and you can test things, and you can do like sort of practice engagements, see which configurations you like better or work better or more effective or weakest, what are the weaknesses. So you can set up little things there, or you can just say, hey, my ship's better than your ship. And they're like, nuh-uh. And you can go in here and you can pound each other or whatever. Fleet. This is where your fleet information would be. So I am part of the Portuguese Armada. Shout out to Rita Gamer. This is where all of your fleet information will be once you have joined a fleet. And I'm not going to get into this. This is going to be another episode in and of itself. To move things around, F12 is the default. And then you can just grab them and move them. So like I said earlier, I don't do PvP at all, so I hid it. So you can show it, or you can hide it. This is your mission tracker. I usually don't like to have 50,000 missions open, but I almost always do. And it picks which ones you're going to see. It's kind of flaky on what information it'll show you, especially when you're in a mission. But this is a quick look at what you've got going on in terms of missions specifically, and you can double click on them and go directly to that mission. It should highlight it. See, I clicked on all the glitters and it's highlighted all the glitters. This is what we're doing. I've already done it, so I'm not going to get the EMH again, so I know the rewards aren't going to be as good. But since we're here, we will talk about this real quick. There are a bunch of episodes that have really convenient starting points. So, for instance, we get to geek out a little bit here again. If you were part of the original Star Trek Online community, up to, I want to say about 8-9 years ago, you had to ever so slowly crawl across the galaxy map if you wanted to go anywhere. You want to start a new story, you got to go to that story start point. That's still accurate, but you no longer have to crawl across the galaxy map to get to that starting point. You can now instead start the mission. So accept the mission, replay it, accept it, and it will bring up these options. Not everywhere, so you have to be in certain areas for the options to highlight. Otherwise, they'll be grayed out. Like, so if I was actually in a story mission, transwarp would be not an option. It would be grayed out. You got to be in space docks on planet where it's like group areas like the Academy, Nimbus, Andoria, Quonos, bunch of places. It's only a few places really that you can't warp from it, but you can go directly to that portion of the story via transwarp. And I say portion of the story because if you have started the story and the story moves and you've made that checkpoint, it will take you to that checkpoint. But these are extremely convenient because let's say I want to go to Nimbus, I can just have this up and I can just transport directly to Nimbus. Transwarp. Magic. It's great. So we'll go more into depth of that. I'll have a guide out and it'll just have them listed of some really, really convenient, or at least that I've found really convenient transwarp locations, output areas that you can use to really quickly pop around the galaxy. Endeavors are down here, or by default they are. You can move them wherever you want. I like them kind of out of the way, but these are where your endeavors are. So this first pane, your perks, shows you how many perks you can spend, how many rewards you've got available. I don't have too many because I've collected them all, and those are just little titles that go on your account. or on your character rather. But this is how many I've completed, what stage of completion the ones that are not completed at. So I've only got one more little notch, and then I've got completion of 750 of the 750 original endeavors, because they just upgraded it. They just added a bunch. I was within spitting distance of finishing it, and they said, "Hey, here's like 1,000 more." I'm not bitter. But these are great. So every day you want to pop in and do your endeavors, and it gives you an account-wide passive boost to a bunch of stuff. Your critical rate, control, turn rate, damage resistances, health regens, maximums of shields and health, your ranged weapon damages, critical severities, chances, shield regens, officer recharges, whole mess of stuff's in here, and we'll get into that stuff in a different episode, because that's a lot of info. Endeavors, this is very simply how much you are going to be rewarded for completing that specific endeavor. So today, what I had was deal anti-proton damage in space. I completed that. You can see the bars all filled up, little check mark. I had defeat Voth on the ground. And this one is anywhere. Sometimes, especially with Voth, it'll say defeat Voth in a specific zone. Defeat Vodwar in a specific zone. Defeat Borg don't have a specific zone. I'm just trying to think of a few examples, but some targets for the Endeavor will have a added hurdle to overcome, where you can't just find them in the galaxy at large. You can't find them in a mission. You can't find them in a TFO. You have to go to a specific area and complete it there. This morning when I did mine, I did not like this one. I can't remember what it was, but it didn't have any synergy. I couldn't do it with something else. It was maybe I had kill Voth and kill Vodwar. I can't remember. So I would have had to have gone to the Voth and kill the Voth. I would have had to gone to the Vodwar and kill the Vodwar. And instead, I ticked one of these reroll tokens. It'll have like a reroll button over here. And I clicked it until it said something that I said, hey, I can do that with this one. So I was doing them at the same time. We'll also talk about that during the actual Endeavor episode. But it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You get 650 for the green level, you get 3,200 for the blue level, you get 8,000 Endeavor points for the purple level. There's also a universal. So the personal endeavors, those were only for me. Somebody else may have gotten them, but they may have gotten an entirely different one. The universal endeavor cannot be re-rolled because that's what everybody is expected to do. So the last one, I think, was do a specific TFO. So I'm going to remind this in the Endeavor episode, but when you are given a competitive war game Endeavor as the universal, I would suggest doing it a lot, because they don't come around too terribly often. So if you want those items for manufacturing weapons or shields or whatever, the marks for manufacturing the shields, the weapons, or whatever, they don't come around too often, so people will be far more enthusiastic about getting into that TFO when it's the universal TFO. So I would just do a bunch of them, as many as you can tolerate, so kind of bogart that, stack it up, stash it up, tuck it away for a rainy day. You have your captain and abilities trays. Those are going to be down here as default. You have your chat box down here as default. You can move them around. I've got my face over my chat box because during streams, during this recording, I don't necessarily want to be paying attention to the in-game chat and babysitting people for slurs or stupidity or scams or whatever else. But this is where you would have chat stuff, and due to how the chat operates from time to time, I'm not going to get into it. It's mostly fairly self-explanatory, but you can figure out how the chat operates, like mechanically. Not how people behave in it, how it operates, but how it mechanically operates, like how you click on things. Okay. And then this is where you would find your character. So there's a couple options. You can set your focus, so you can have that up all the time. I don't know why you would, because you should always be up there. Your info. So this has a brief rundown of your current ship, the type, how many credits, how much refined, what fleet you're in, what your career is, your career profession, gender, sex, rank, grade, diplomatic, blah, 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 blah. So it's got a bunch of stuff. Oh, accolade points. Yeah. So how many accolades you've completed. That's going to be a really long episode, because there's a lot of accolades in Star Trek Online. Another thing that's going to be a different episode is you can... It's not going to be another episode. It already is another episode. You can dress your characters up. So now I'm ready for a formal gathering. Need to meet an admiral or a ambassador, or make first contact with a species. That's kind of my in-game on it. I've got my navy whites, or you've also got, like, you can make them all kinds of casual. So I've got her like kind of pajama things, like she'd just be walking the corridors. Oh, hello, Captain. Oh, I'm off duty. You don't have to salute, or whatever. I don't know. I think you would still want to salute. But then your general one is usually your character name. And then finally, this very little top bar up here is how close you are to ranking up and or getting a new skill point. So my character is maxed out. She has level 65, well in the bag. So she is a fleet admiral. That is the highest rank you can have in the game. You can check on your commendations again real quick here. If you've completed it, I believe that means you've taken the rewards for it as well. So I've not completed rank 4 yet, and I have also not gotten the reward for it. Or maybe not, because I don't think I've done all these. It's a little bit weird. When you get a commendation rank, you don't automatically get the reward. You have to go talk to somebody. So we'll talk about that too. But the little gray bar is your basic experience, and then the little gold bar is your skill rank, and then once you've filled up that entire line with gold bars, it'll disappear and you get another skill. And we'll talk about that in the other episode as well. Other things that we can talk about is up here. I'm spinning. You can see the compass right up here. So that's where you're pointed. It doesn't tell you north, south, east, west, or anything like that. But it will tell you where your next objective or target is. So there'll be a little box with a green circle in it on that. And when you turn, you're like, it's over here, it's over here, it's over here. So, oh, now we found it. Okay, now you just have to imagine that there was a little green box there, and it moved from over there, and that was our target. But that's how you find where you need to go next in missions. Display big map. So you can also tap M or click that button. But this is the big map. So you can find points of interest, your next target in a mission, where to complete a episode, a mission. You have to talk to somebody. It'll tell you, hey, go here, go there. Also, in multiplayer areas like Nimbus, the Academies, Kronos, Earth space dock, the Dyson sphere ground area, the winter and summer events, so Q's Wonderland and Ryza. You can get a little bit overwhelmed with players competing for the various areas of interest, the various competitions. I will use as a good example what I usually use it for. I do a lot of my endeavors on Nimbus in the multiplayer area, and a lot of other people do too. So if it's a little too crowded, you can come down here and change instance. This is a horrible example because hardly anybody ever goes to Starbase 39. But there's 9 players on my current map. If I was on Nimbus, this might say there are 5 current maps. My current map has 20 players, so we're all fighting for the same resources. Another one may have 18 players, or one of them might have 0, so there would be 0 competition for for resources. So that's a good thing to keep in mind if you're having troubles in the multiplayer areas. Look at the change instance area and see if there are other maps that the server has available that you can pop into and have a little bit more to yourself. Whew! So that's the heads-up display, otherwise known as the HUD. There's a lot of information in there. A lot of information in there. But that's the HUD. A lot of info, I know. This one ran on a little bit, and the editing's going to be a nightmare on it, so consider yourself lucky you don't have to do that part. But like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Twitch. I do story modes and strategy guides every Saturday on Twitch. FuzzyBunnies47 on Twitch. And that's all I got for you today, guys. I'm tired. Yeah. That's all of it. That's all of it I can think of.